Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
Hare Krishna. Very welcome to our channel, Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, because we have it, Bhagavad-gita as it is. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And my name is Labanga Latika. So, we are reading the Bhagavad-gita, and we are in the middle of the 11th chapter, the universal form, where Krishna and Arjuna, they are having a conversation. And it's a little deeper than a conversation. Arjuna is standing in his the crisis of his life. Because if you read the Mahabharata, you will see how the Pandavas have been going through different difficulties throughout their lives. Their cousins have been consistently trying to usurp their position. And whether we want to argue about the positions being right or wrong, the way they've gone about it have been entirely dishonorable. But it hasn't really touched them. They have been going on with their lives. They've had their dharma, they've had their relationships, they've had Krishna. At this point, though, Arjuna says, I don't think I can do this. I don't know why I should do this. This is such a terrible, terrible thing. So Krishna doesn't just say, well, you're a fighter, go and fight. He says that too. He says he approaches the subject from all different angles, but that isn't the main consideration. The main consideration is the eternal existential questions. Who are we? What is the meaning of life? And how do we act in relationship to that? So Arjuna has been taking in. He has been responding. He's been asking questions when something has been, hard for him to understand or not really. He's been bringing his doubts up. This chapter is totally different. Arjuna says, I accept everything you've said. I understand completely who you are. Now, will you show me your universal form? So the universal form is spectacular. There's no other word for it. And a little quite scary. Quite overwhelming. So Prabhupada goes on to explain that Arjuna and Krishna wanted this vision to be shown in order to really nail down Krishna's position. Devotional service to Krishna is not dependent on his position as such. It is fully based on love. But when we approach, when we start to move towards this bhakti yoga, devotional service, the yoga method of love, then it is very important that we are approaching the right person, because we can't just randomly say, oh, it's all love, let's just, worship anybody who walks by. No, we have to know Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And really, we can approach it philosophically, logically, based on the Vedas. But this, show the universal form, that cannot be imitated. So I will continue where we ended the last time. And that should be text 19. I'm reading the Sanskrit. Anadimadyantam anantaviryam anantabahung sashisuryanetram pashyami tvang diptahutashavaktrang svatedhyasa vishvamidang tapantam. You are without origin, middle or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. Purport. There is no limit to the extent of the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, and in many other places, there is repetition, but according to the scriptures, repetition of the glories of Krishna is not a literary weakness. It is said that at the time of bewilderment or wonder, or of great ecstasy, statements are repeated over and over. That is not a flaw. Yes, so we can read Bhagavad-gita coming from different perspectives. So one of them is obviously Sanskrit grammar and poetic structures that I am not very familiar with. So here we are addressing that. It is not a fault if you see Krishna's universal form and you start to, in pure amazement and awe, say, oh, the sun and the moon is there. Everything is everything. That is just the natural reaction. And here also we have that sometimes in our local scriptures, the Bible, or even more so the first part, I think we call it the Old Testament. In Swedish we do, in English I hope we do. And there sometimes God appears in very fearful forms. He's striking fear into people in different ways. And I always had a hard time with that, because like, why would he do that? But here he also does that, because ultimately the full extent of Krishna's glories and powers and manifestations in this world, they are, we use the word awesome, but not like awesome because he's really cool, but awesome because he inspires awe and reverence and amazement and an inability to exactly, well, it shakes the very ground, our very foundation, when we understand Krishna in this way. He's not just something that, well, people may or may not believe in God, and some people believe in God and then they spend a little time at the end of the week doing the God thing, and for the rest we get on with the things, with the life, with the real things. No, the foundation of everything is actually Krishna. Everything we see is his energy, and it's easy to forget. Not while you're watching the universal form though, then it's all very much in your face, and we have to relate to it. It's not that Krishna is coming here and scaring us and shaking us up and forcing us to bow down to him. No, I mean, he gives us all the space in the world. We're in that relationship when we turn to Krishna and said, yeah, I probably love you, but I need a little space. And Krishna says, okay, how about a universe where you don't even remember me? So that's all the space we get. But when we want to turn back to him, then we come from different backgrounds. So some people's doubts will have to be answered by these strong manifestations. We all come a little bit from different places. Anyway, I will read a little more because I find it very fascinating to hear about Krishna in this way. I'm reading text 20. Dhyava prithivyuridam anantarang hi vyaptang tvayaikena dishascha sarva drishtvad-bhutang rupam tavedang lokatrayang pravatitang mahatman. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. Purport. Dyav a prithivyo, the space between heaven and earth, and lokatrayam, the three worlds, are significant words in this verse, because it appears that not only did Arjuna see this universal form of the Lord, but others in other planetary systems saw it also. Arjuna's seeing of the universal form was not a dream. All whom the Lord endowed with divine vision saw that universal form on the battlefield. Yes. So we have that. Even in an ordinary way, we will notice things a little bit different. Somebody who is trained in noticing things, like the police knows this, when there is something happening and they are interviewing the witnesses, they're all seeing different things. But somebody who's, maybe a police officer themselves, or somebody who's accustomed to noticing details, they will notice more details, and everybody else will notice things according to where they are standing. And here it's not just a question of training or interest, but also different levels of consciousness, because obviously we're living in this world parallel to so many different peoples. If an ant would be to walk through this room, we would no doubt be in the same room, but the ant wouldn't consider the philosophy that is being spoken. The ant might probably consider if there's been some sugar spilt on the floor, which I don't think there is. So sorry, ants. But and then the universe goes on. We have devas on the higher planetary systems, and we have souls that are turning to Krishna in the same way that Arjuna does, and then Krishna can also show them this universal form, while at the same time others who were on the battlefield did not see it, because they were not, at that point where that vision was given to them. I'll read text 21. Ami hitvang sura sangha vishanti ketchid bhita prandalayo grenanti svastit yuktva maharshi siddha sangha stuvanti tvang stutibhi pushkalabhi. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfect beings crying, all peace, are praying to you by singing Vedic hymns. Swasti, that's what means all peace. Purport. The demigods in all the planetary systems feared the terrific manifestation of the universal form and its glaring effulgence, and so prayed for protection. Because that is the natural impulse for persons who are connected to the Supreme in their life. They may look like they're doing ordinary activities and are involved in different aspects of the universal affairs, but when they come to a position that they cannot exactly handle with their own abilities, then they will turn to Krishna. So that is actually the training of Bhakti Yoga. We are speaking of Bhakti Yoga as an offering of love, but at the same time it is an acceptance and actively seeking Krishna's shelter, because in this world, the more we understand it, the more we see that we're just like a small leaf tossed about in the waves of an ocean. We may think that, this little room, I can control it, I can turn the heat up, I can change the curtains, this is my realm. And then we see the news where sometimes there's a volcano, and suddenly the whole house is covered with ashes, and you can't do anything about it. Of course, we're not just thinking about God when there's a catastrophe. We want to incorporate that active relationship to Krishna into our daily lives. But when something out of the ordinary happens, then that's the first shelter, and that is a very good instinct to train, because at one point we will come to the time of death, and then we won't be able to control anything. And if we then have the habit of turning to Krishna in sincere love and sincerely seeking and actually expecting his shelter, because he's happy to give it when we stop hiding from him. So that's what the devas are doing. Let's see, maybe one more verse. Text 22. Rudraditya vasavo ye cha sadhya vishvesvinau marutaschosmapascha gandharva yaksha sura siddha sangha vikshante tvam vishmitaschaiva sarve. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Vishvedevas, the two Asvis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfect demigods are beholding you in wonder. Text 23. Rupang mahatte bahuvaktra netram mahabaho bahubahu rupadam bahudarang bahudangstra karalang dristva loka pravyathitas tathaham. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I, Arjuna speaking, who came to this place as the friend of Krishna, and who turned to him as a disciple surrendered to the Guru, the spiritual master, and now he's seeing him in yet a different way. I'm reading text 24. Nabhasprishang dipta maneka varnang vyatananang dipta vishala netram drishtva hitvang pravyat hitantaratma dritting navindami shamang cha Vishnu. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. Text 25. Dangstra karalani chate mukhani dristvaiva kala nalasani bhani disho na jane nalabhecha sharma prasida devesha jagan nivasa. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. So that is the reaction of Arjuna. Arjuna, he's not even, unfamiliar. He knows Krishna. He knows him very closely as a friend. He knows him very deeply after this conversation. He knows, the concept of the Supreme Personality of God. It is coming from that culture, and yet this is an overwhelming experience for him. So Krishna is shaking him up by showing something that he hasn't seen before, because it's impossible to see the complete everything. Like here he has a vision of the whole universe, from the lowest part to the highest planets, and with all the inhabitants, and with the manifestation of Vishnu in all direction. This is like nothing he has ever seen. And it's also, Prabhupada is pointing out, it's not a dream. Other beings in the higher planets, they are seeing the same thing, and they are equally shaken up. So, yes, we need to open up to the possibility that the presence of God will shake us up. And as much as it is a good idea to have a regulated life, to have a peaceful, functional structure of living, it is also necessary to leave a little opening for Krishna to shake us up and expand our worldview. Because whichever level we come to, we can become a little bit, complacent and lukewarm about things. And devotion to Krishna, it's a very deep matter of the heart. So, of course, the universal form does not primarily inspire love, because it's not a very sweet form. But at the same time, this is one aspect of Krishna. Krishna is not just a beautiful statue that we hang garlands on. He is that person from whom all the universes have emanated, not even from him personally, but from him, his expansion as Mahavishnu, Karanrakashai Vishnu. And if he wants to shake a whole universe up so that all the devas in the heavens are bewildered, it is very easy for him to do so. The reason that he doesn't do so, that usually he doesn't have a need to do that. It's not that sometimes we read or we hear stories like from the Old Testimony, from that perspective, that if we don't obey God, he will strike us with lightning. And then we look around and we see very few people are struck by lightning, even if we can see that they very much defy God's existence. So God doesn't have anything to prove. He doesn't have to prove to us that he's God. He's God, he's fine. He doesn't, if we turn away from him. I remember when I was very, very young, I was traveling and I was sitting down at a cafe with two young men that I didn't know very well, and they were having this dialogue, and they were saying, well, if I believe in God, then God exists for me, and if I don't believe in God, then God doesn't exist for me. And I turned to them and said, well, if you believe in me, or if you don't believe in me, I will still go on existing, and what to speak about God? And they're like, huh? Have you been in contact with the Hare Krishnas? And at that point they hadn't been in contact with the Hare Krishnas. But that is God. He's not really touched by us, but he loves us. He wants to welcome us home. He also doesn't really love the way we are taking on unnecessary suffering in this world. So he will remind us from different directions. And the universal form is a very tangible reminder of the might and awesomeness of God. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.